Hey, this is Al from Transformational Gaming. Appreciate you coming by. Appreciate you coming to the channel. Today, I would like to talk to you guys about my thoughts on developers not able to fully utilize the PS5 version of God of War Ragnarök. But before we get into all that, I just like to give you guys a clap of endearment. You guys have been doing so well with the comments and things like that. I've gotten a lot of great feedback from you guys, and I just want to say keep coming with it, because you know, it's not just about what I think topics should be or whatnot, or what's hot and what's not. It's about what you guys want to hear, how you guys want to hear it, and it will factor me in it as well. So I just appreciate you guys coming out to the channel, subscribing to the channel, and I just am so elated by all the views and stuff that has been kicked up since the last video, and just want to send my appreciations to you guys. And if you like what we're doing over here, if you're new to the channel, come back. But anyway, let's get into what we're talking about today. Today I want to give my thoughts on developers, namely Santa Monica Studios, inability to fully utilize the PS5. And you know, without going too deep into all the technicalities and stuff like that, you know, I just think it's an unfortunate situation. And I want to reference Twisted Voxel is where I'll be reading from, and that's where I got the article about developers confirming that God of War is unable to fully utilize the PS5 capabilities and what that all means. So let's get into it. The article says a developer who worked on God of War Ragnarök has confirmed that the game is not able to fully utilize the capabilities of the PS5 hardware. During an interview, the animation director of God of War, Bruno Valquez, stated that the development team at Santa Monica Studios wanted to make the best PS4 game possible, and in doing so was unable to fully utilize the capabilities of the PS5 hardware. And then it goes on to say, Valquez said that the studio wanted to take what it did with the original 2018 God of War and expand on it. And the previous game, fans were teased about the 9 realms, but weren't able to visit all of them. This changes in the sequel, as one of the main aspects of God of War Ragnarök is that you'll be able to explore all 9 realms. So it goes into some more stuff, but really I wanted to talk about the understanding of utilizing the PS4 version. Now, if you recall, in Horizon Forbidden West, it was opposite, right? They actually designed the game for the PS5, but they scaled down to the PS4, where in here they wanted to make the best PS4 version of the game and then scale up to PS5. Now, I'm not going to say one is necessarily better than the other, because both has their benefits, right, and some have their drawbacks. And in my mind, the problem with having it on the PS4 is that, of course, you're not able to fully utilize the PS5 without grabbing brand new assets and creating a whole new different game. And then with the PS5 version, you have to scale all the way down, and sometimes the assets ain't what they were, and they look a lot worse than what would be on the PS4 or PS5. So in that situation, I could kind of understand the nuance and the decision to go with that, because now building it for the PS4 graphically and gameplay wise, you get to have the headroom of blasting the processor at 60 frames per second, 120 frames per second. So I get all of that, but to me, I just don't think that's the best way being that you have a console that's been out for 2 years to utilize the developer's time. Now listen, I do understand that probably what happened is that, I don't know, and this probably didn't happen, but let's just say Shoot busted through the door in the middle of a PS4 build and said, boom, stop what y'all doing right now, because we about to release a console in about a year or so, and here's the dev kits for that. And developers are probably looking at themselves like, oh my goodness, we're almost done with God of War Ragnarok. And so yeah, I see that they didn't probably want any more delays, because that's why I thought God of War Ragnarok was going to be delayed, because I was like all in on the fact that they was going to build that for the PS5, and the PS5 had just came out and they still learning the technology. I just never thought they would probably build the game for the PS4, but I understand it makes sense because they probably have been working on it all along, and they like, look, if we can pull out a game, but the best thing for us to do is to finish it on the PS4, they're probably going to have a proper PS5 version of the game even after the release of the game on November 9th. It's just that, like I said, my thoughts were that, hey, look, there's no way they're going to take all this time and start building a PS4 version of the game while they got this new hardware out. But they did. And looking at the latest trailer, and yeah, I'm using John's footage. I'm trying not to use none of his metrics, because honestly, those are his metrics, and I don't want anybody to think that I came up with those metrics. But for the most part, I mean, you can look at the latest build of the game that John has, and honestly, it is somewhat impressive. The graphics are somewhat impressive, even though they look a lot like what was done on the PS4 in 2018. I do have to give the team a thumbs up, because these graphics are in line as far as improving upon what the PS4 did. And so with all that said, it's somewhat disappointing that they was not able to develop for the PS5. That being said, it is working on the PS5, and it's not just like some type of headroom trick, right? It's a full build for the PS5 as far as utilizing the 120 hertz mode and stuff like that. The game looks so good, it's almost like it doesn't matter. But you know, honestly, there's a side to me that says, you know what, they probably should have built the game for the PS5, use some of that extra memory for bringing in additional assets to improve the level design, or change the level design to at least make that next gen, and bring in some gameplay functions that can't be done on the PS4, in addition to increasing the graphics. And I'm not saying they had to make this drill all the way down to 30 frames per second, but that being said, it will be more satisfying for PS5 owner to have something that is pushing the hardware, because what happened to the Xbox One X, and this is also happening to the Series X. I mean, there essentially is really no game that is actually made for the system. It feels like all the games are made for the Series S and just upscaled to the Series X. And so you kind of see that with God of War. Now, thankfully, not all the games have been like that, right? A game that is, you know, for example, Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank is definitely a PS5 exclusive, because I'm not even sure the PS4 could even do that first part of the game when it's kind of on rails or whatnot, and then but you could still have some level control and then switch that back to rails, to level control, to rails. I mean, that requires fast memory and a lot of access, a lot of bandwidth to the hard drive, and I just don't think that the PS4 could do that. But that's just one example. Horizon Forbidden West also is another example of really the PS4 not being able to do the things that were designed on the PS5, but I mean, the downscale was real. I mean, you could see the degradation in graphics once you went to the PS4. There's a couple of other games that's been exclusively made for the PS5 that I feel that fidelity wise that could not be done on the PS4. There's other examples that shows that developing for the PS4 kind of works. Anyway, I'm not going to deliberate about this game too much. I think the game is going to be solid. But that being said, I appreciate y'all coming by. Please continue the promoting of the channel. You guys have done very, very good. I mean, there's a lot of views and stuff that's being accounted for on the channel. And I thank you so much for coming to the channel. If you're not a member of the channel, please come back. And until then, may the truth set you free. Later.